Layshia Clarendon is a guard for the Minnesota Lynx, and as a WNBA All-Star, she's built her game around the ability to attack the rim, quickness, and playmaking skill. Now, off the court, Layshia is still building his legacy by being an outspoken leader on racial and gender equality issues, while also being the vice president of the WNBPA. Layshia now joins us one-on-one. Thanks for being here, Layshia. How you doing?
Pretty good. A little tired after practice, but I'm hanging in there. And based on that intro, no wonder I'm so tired because I got a lot going
on. Well, we love it, and we're gonna get straight on into it because I don't want to let that sweat cool too much. So let's dive in. I was on Twitter a couple weeks back, sipping my coffee, and I was shocked to see a tweet from the New York Liberty, kind of thanking you for your contributions. And now, fast forward, you're wearing a Minnesota Lynx jersey. So I need to know what happened.
I mean, you can ask New York, but they waived me. So I got picked up. I went home, flew my family, my wife and my child home to California. Got a call like a day later from Cheryl Reeves saying, do you want to come play for the Lynx? Flew out to Minnesota, and here I am. So it's pretty shocking, you know, based on like the veteran and how I was playing that happened with New York. But, you know, when one door closes, I think another one opens.
Back in 2013, you were actually selected 9th overall. Now, there is actually only 4 more players in your draft class that are currently playing in the league. So this is a bit of a double question. 1, can you name them? And 2, why is it so hard to stay in the league?
Wow. Well, if there's 4 other, it's the big 3, obviously, and Skylar, Elena, and BG. And then it's Tiana Hawkins, right? And we're about to play her. Oh, I know my class. Yeah, it's pretty good. That actually catches me off guard. I didn't realize there was only 5 of us left. Wow. It's hard. Yeah. It's really hard to stay in this league. It's like one of the most difficult professional leagues to make it in.
Switching the page now to more off of the court. As a biracial woman myself, you know, I understand what it's like to have a perceived racial identity. But, you know, I want to know what your experience is like with an added layer of intersectionality between being biracial, non-binary, and trans.
It's a lot. I mean, living at those intersections, it's like you might walk in a room full of Black people, but is it like a queer friendly space? You might be like in a queer space, it's more predominantly white. And then like, you have to think about your racial lens. So often in a lot of spaces, particularly spaces that we're fighting for social justice or against like systemic issues, we don't look at those issues as like related to each other. And that's why the fight has to be intersectional, right? Because like queer, Black, trans people exist. So we can't just fight queerness, we can't just fight racism, we can't just fight gender, but they're all interlinked. And that really is why like one person's freedom is everyone's freedom, because this fight, it really does, overlap with each other.
You know, something I really appreciate about you is just your openness and willing to speak up. Actually, we appreciate it so much that in the open of our show, we actually have your sound up from the Wubble saying that we will be a voice for the voiceless. So my question for you is, how did you find your voice and why is it so important that you use it?
Wow, that's a deep one. It was back in like, I'd say I went to UC Berkeley in California, and there I knew I was gay. I wasn't out to my family. I started going to church. So I really like came to terms with like being gay and Christian and what that could mean and like reconciling the two of those. And so for me, it was like through that struggle and through like finding, you know, that God made me this way. And that this was actually so much of my superpower. That's how I found my voice. And it was less of a like, can I be gay and Christian? No, like God made me to be gay and Christian. And like through that, you know, confidence and self-love, I really found my voice and my ability to like advocate for myself and advocate for other people.
We love that. And you embody everything that SWISH is about, like your activism, your spirit, style, and, you know, just being your authentic self. So what do you want people to know about Layshia Clarendon on or off the court?
I want people to know, like, I struggled too, like so much. I think sometimes people just see me and like being this voice, grabbing the microphone in the bubble is the first game. And like, remember that like my voice cracked and that like I struggle with being brave and showing up and trying to have courage. And so much of the work that I do really comes from like doing it myself first and like looking in the mirror. And then that's like the scary, really hard work to do, right? Like to look at ourselves and ask those hard questions and like to truly love ourselves. And then that's where all of that outwardness comes from me. Like I do my work first, like always internally. And so I just encourage like everyone has that ability to look inside and find that self-love.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and I hope your sweat's not too cold.
That's good. Thank you. Appreciate it.